What is going on, Lucid fans? Welcome back to Fanatic Journey. So today I want to give you an overview of what is happening to Lucid, go over some of the data points, what shorts are doing, and just talk on a lot of the updates that's been floating around. Before I get into any of that, make sure you guys hit that thumbs up and subscribe. I always greatly appreciate that. And with that, let's get right to it. So currently it is down 2.5% based on the technicals. It's breaking down a little bit because it did transition several days, in fact, to transition into the higher percentile of the Bollinger Band. But unfortunately, there just wasn't enough buying there to kind of get it there, because even looking as far as this, number of transactions that have so far occurred on the secondary market is just pennies. And even today in among itself, there's only been one transaction over $100,000. It was fairly good, so 1.11 million, but only one transaction on the secondary market, like I said, over $100,000, so a little bit lower. And this is why you are getting a little low for volume today. So 10.9 million shares being traded, 20.7 is the average. And like I've indicated over my video on the last weekend, I was actually very optimistic for Lucid for this week. I thought I was going to go to high sixes, potentially 7, but clearly there wasn't enough there. When it comes down to stuff that's been coming out from the company, there's been a couple of Form 4s that I wanted to talk on, but as far as PR, there's been absolutely nothing. The Form 4s do signal that a lot of the insiders did sell some shares, but nothing really to worry about because it was transaction code F, and obviously it was for tax purposes. So nothing really crazy as far as that. So there was Peter, there's also right here Sherry, Eric Bach, Michael Bell, and also Gagnon. So again, nothing really to worry about in my opinion. Couple other things that's been coming down the pipeline, one of which is right here. So Tom from RBC did give a new rating, so initiated coverage, but they only gave you a $6 price target, so that obviously is having a little bit more of a negative repercussion on the stock price today. And obviously my last update, I did cover Ben, who is from Robert Bard, and that was done 3 days ago. They gave you a $7 price target. Tom, also on a side note, also does have a 48% success rating, whereas Ben similarly 48%. So not necessarily the best. Let me know your thoughts on that in the comments below. And when it comes down to other updates that's been kind of floating around, this one. So I'm pretty optimistic about obviously Lucid's expansion. I've expressed that many times in the past. This is one thing I really like about Lucid, is them expanding to all the areas that have a massive amount of demand, which kind of makes sales a little bit easier. But the news that did come out says US electric car maker Lucid is exploring China entry, confirms mass market models ahead. So as far as when it comes down to China, the stats have all been very much there, especially we think that they're hot right now. Like, look at what is projected for 2025 and onwards. So in reality, if Lucid does go, for instance, by mid-decade, which was their original target, I think that's what they started to say at the beginning of 2022, the fact that they wanted a fully functioning facility in China, definitely that would be huge, and be able to take advantage of all this demand. Because even up here, based on, I think it's just 2023 alone, the market, so EV market, is projected to reach 292 billion. That is insane. Massive amount of demand, and this is why I really like Lucid, like I've said, because they are going to Europe, they're going to Saudi Arabia, they're going to China, the States, everywhere that has the demand, they are going, which does, like I said, make things so much simpler for them. But when it comes down to this news, it obviously is showing that they don't really have a time frame as of right now, but they are still once again reconfirming that. But also in this article, they do talk on how they're confirming mass market models ahead. And for the longest time, what we do know is by mid-decade, there's going to be that mid-size SUV. But in here, they kind of word it weird, because they do say a mid-size car. So I'm not really sure what they mean by that, because Bach does say and confirms that a mid-size car. So I don't know if he is just using the word car when he means SUV, because this might be something out of left field that we don't know about, but it does say could be unveiled in 2026. So kind of around the same time period as that midsize SUV, but the midsize car could be priced around 20,000 ideally, and that's obviously with economies of scale, and hopefully by 2026 they'll be close to their production targets and what they can actually do. Because based on this, so this is a little bit older because this came out I think July 2021, a lot has changed, but by 2026 it is projected for them to produce 251,000 vehicles per year, once again, looking at 2023, so 49,000 was the original forecast. And of course, right now we are sitting at, I think it's going to be around 10 to 14. That's what their aim is. So take that with a grain of salt if they do say 251, but still, no matter what though, I think that's a pretty good thing. Let me know your thoughts. Do you think that they're just confusing midsize car with SUV? Because in reality, if he does mean the midsize SUV for $20,000, that would be selling like hotcakes. That would be insane. And you never know, with a lot of licensing deals down the line, there could be a lot of transfer of technology, and yeah, they could obtain maybe a lower priced vehicle by then, because that's one thing that Peter has said in the past is with a lot of these deals, they're going to be able to move to a lower priced vehicle so much quicker than anticipated. So definitely that is a pretty exciting thing. As far as some data points though, starting off with options, and with it being obviously a Friday and midway through the day, currently there is $649,000 in calls being purchased versus 1.56 million in puts. So of course today is very much oriented towards the negative a little bit, but looking as far as over the last 7 days, it's definitely still very heavy on puts. So 109 million in puts versus 4.36 million in calls. So clearly a lot of people are just looking at a lot of the technicals and assuming it is going to break down. With it currently at $5.86, it is exactly right below this very strong support slash resistance, depending on where it does land, but this S1. So right now it is trading between this S2 and this S1. So you kind of have to anticipate $5.49 being that next strong support. And that is coincidentally around that all-time low of $5.46. And depending on, once again, where this does land, $6.52 is a very strong support. So if it does break below and stay below this kind of S1, then you kind of have to anticipate that there might be a new 52-week and all-time low coming. Let me know your thoughts on that in the comments below. As far as these two indicators, looking at the momentum indicator shows number of retail investors have been getting out. Stochastic is unfortunately very bearish, so you do have the deviation, so red line above the black, but generally it is kind of neutral, so not oversold, not overbought, or anything like that. So technicals aren't necessarily looking the best, options not necessarily the best. I'll give you an overview of what shorts are doing today. So right now, short score is currently, ding, 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 75. Utilization is 90.05%. On a side note, if you have any questions about any of this information, let me know in the comments below. I can definitely address that. But shorts are actually returning 93,000 shares. So this one, out of all the data points, shorts is the most bullish aspect, because the fact that they are returning shares on a red day shows that they do not believe that it is justified. And right now, shorts actually have access to about 1.5 million shares, and that's through the Interactive Broker short availability. So if they wanted to, and they felt that today's downtrend was justified, they could double down, but they're not. So this, out of anything, oddly enough, is the most optimistic stuff. Cost to borrow average is 1.43%. 24.28% of the free float is being shorted. And as of right now, 200.92 million shares is being shorted. And just to put that in perspective right now, that does equate to $1.21 billion worth of shorts out there. So let me know your thoughts on Lucid as far as what shorts are doing, just the technicals. What's your kind of overview of that? And what is your kind of interpretation of this? So when Bach does say mid-size car, do you think he truly does mean car? Or is that more of an SUV? Because as far as I'm aware, there wasn't anything in the works as far as a actual car, because based on this, it just says, I guess, future models. So there might be more than one. I was always under the impression that the future models was that mid-size SUV, but regardless, whatever future model is coming out is anticipated between 2025 and 2026 just to blow the market up, because it does go from 8,000 vehicles per year to 75. So whatever the future models they did plan in 2021, they are going to be very big for the market. So let me know your thoughts on all this in the comments below. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. I always greatly appreciate that. And like I've always been sharing with you, take advantage of this promo. It is completely free for an account, but if you throw only $100 at the account, you get 5 free stocks. Each stock can be valued up to $2,000. So this is a crazy deal. Link in the description below and also the comments. With that said, I appreciate you guys watching, and let's all make a lot of money on Lucid.